chat. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Just got back from Greece. Oh my gosh. Jess, wow. I bet that was amazing. Can't wait to hear about that. Having time to connected sporting events. That is awesome. Susan, relationships, love it. Congratulations, by the way, Savannah. Lots of good things happening. Anything else you guys are grateful for? Let us know in the chat. Would love to hear. I see Jen Vickers in the background today, by the way. Hi, Jen Vickers. Okay, guys, so I brought on a special guest for you. Look how cool this picture is of you that I found. Can you see it? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, that guy in the back, JT, was the guy actually racing. I was pacing him through his second 100-mile attempt. And yeah. That's actually a really cool story behind that, maybe for a different day. He's why I ultimately made the move into coaching, was the moment I had with him. But yeah, him and I ran that 100-mile race a year ago this weekend.
Wow. 100 miles, you guys. I don't know if any of you, I just want to make sure you guys heard that. 100 miles. So, okay, I'm going to stop sharing because I want them to see you, Brian. So I thought that you'd be perfect person to talk a little bit about mindset today. And we didn't prepare, or I sent him 0 questions ahead of time. So we're just going to just go with it live. But Brian, what does mindset mean to you? We've been doing this, just so you know, since the week that the world shut down from COVID. Every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday, just to keep people's mindsets in a great place. And I feel like midweek we kind of get to like a slump and we're like, man, okay, Monday was rough and Tuesday and now it's Wednesday and we're looking forward to the weekend. But just sharing some good mindset lessons. So would love to hear what mindset means to you first, and kind of how do you stay in such a great mindset?
It's one of those words that we hear all the time, right? And when that happens, sometimes it just becomes this thing: mindset. And so it's exactly, to me, it is what it is. It's how I set my mind, where I set it, who I set it on, right? To me, it's all about being present, right? The number one lesson I've learned through mindset, which actually you started it, the habit, is through gratitude. When you practice gratitude, it brings you to the right now. It brings you to what you can be grateful for now. But mindset to me is about how to set your mind on what's currently happening, how to be present in the moment. And we can expand on that, but it's about presence.
Yeah. So tell them a little bit about you, and then we'll go into that. But you've been successful in your roles as a business person. You're an awesome coach, and more so what I wanted to talk about too is you run these crazy marathons. And I'm like, you got to have a really specific and great mindset to accomplish all those things. And you have to have the mindset to be a winner, I would think. So tell them a little bit about you and then kind of talk about that.
Yeah. So Brian Levitt, if you haven't met me before, it's really nice to meet you today. Thanks for having me on. I've been in the Keller Williams system for 6 years, Dana. Grew up in the company, I think similar to you, as a team leader, and then became a coach and a facilitator, and worked for Mark King for 3 years, which was a massive honor, right, to grow some of his businesses and hold Keller Williams near and dear to my heart. Now I've pivoted into another relationship that I now hold near and dear to my heart with Adam Roach and I Love Coaching. And I'm coaching. 80% of what I do now is coaching, right? Coaching one-on-one. And so that's kind of, who I am professionally. Personally, I'm a dad, right? To two, awesome little dudes, Leighton and Jensen. And I outkicked my coverage when I married my wife. Her name is Amber, right? I definitely am a guy who married up. And I'm the husband to a wonderful woman, Amber. And so I'm a family guy. I'm a coach, and I'm an endurance runner. Those are the 3 kind of things I live in, right, day to day.
Love it. Awesome. Yep. Love it. So have you always had a great mindset, or have you developed that over time and just in your roles?
I think it was developed over my time. It's funny because my brothers were listening to this. They'd get angry with this, but they'd also say I was right, that we all grew up in the same environment. Yet I had a different perspective on life than they did. Can you hear me? Are we okay?
Hold on. You're cutting out a little bit.
Am I back?
Is he cutting out for you, Heather? Okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I
think it's just the internet.
Yeah, you were just glitching, but I think you're back now.
How about now?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, so I think it's a habit I've had over time. I've always, one of the values I have in life is challenge. And so I like to meet challenges head on. And I've conditioned myself, I think, from an early age to see things for what they are, right? And to be really grateful in whatever that is. And I think it happened really early in life, honestly, just through challenge.
Can you think of a time, like something that you'd be willing to share where you had a big challenge and kind of how you pushed through it with your mindset?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a story just about Zion 100 from two years ago, if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was actually my first 100-mile race. I had no idea what I was doing. And 6 of us went out to run this race, and we all got separated. And I ran the first 40 miles by myself. At mile 40, I started having stomach issues. I started throwing up, right, up a mountain, and was just in a bad place. And was telling myself, just take care of what's current. And long story short, I got up to the next aid station. I see 2 of my friends, and who are there to run. And I'm like, let's team up and go. Like, I need an hour. I need to rest. And I'm thinking, there's no way I'm finishing this thing, right? But in the moment, it's all about presence. That's what I opened up with. I go, it doesn't matter if you finish or not. Let's solve the issues at hand. Let's just make the most of what you have going on right now. And sure enough, 2 hours later, we're just moving forward slowly, but I start to come back, right? I start to feel better, and everything starts to facilitate, in terms of my nutrition. And so we're up and running again, right? And so that was the first thing, a little lesson of just because it's bad right now doesn't mean it's always going to be, right? Sometimes you just have to grind through a certain phase. But that turned into a moment at mile 70 where the girl I was running with said, oh my gosh, we only have X amount of hours left. In order to finish this, we're going to have to do double the pace we've done over the last 20 miles. And I burst out into tears, Dana, because it's my first 100-miler. I've trained for 6 months for this. I'm in Zion. And so I leave her and this other guy because I'm just feeling not so positive with them. And I kind of move forward, and I'm an emotional wreck because I'm so tied to the outcome of not finishing, perhaps. And so in that moment, I went, you came here to challenge yourself and to run in Zion. You're doing that. And now you're getting upset about what might not happen. And so long story short is I just entered presence, right? I just said, you're going to do the best that you can do right now in this moment and be grateful for the ability to even do it. Right. So I head down, grinded for 7 hours, right? Went to what I call this pain cave. And sure enough, I get to the last aid station 1 mile from the finish, and I've made up an hour, and I'm safe to finish. And we have a great day. And I finished a 100-miler. But if you listen to what happened, there was some physical things happened, some mindset things happened. It all looked like I wasn't going to get my way. Right. So I was setting myself up to not meet expectations. And in those moments, we got to stop and say, hey, whoa, what's going on right now? How do we know what's happening right now? Let's be present. The goal's the goal, right? But life being lived right now, let's live it as hard as we can. Let's try our best. Let's be grateful for the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I love that. It actually reminds me, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how we're all going to have stress in our life, no matter what. It's not going to go away. So we just have to increase our capacity. And it's kind of the same thing, like you talking about being present in the moment to switch your mindset is huge. I think is huge. How do you, or how would you coach somebody? Like, I feel like so many people right now are burnt out, or they're in a rut, or they just their mindset is not in a great place. Have you ever been there, and what do you do to push out of it?
Yeah, so everyone's got their own thing, and I don't like to always offer just advice on how I do it, because people have specific things they're going through, right? Yeah. And the first thing is giving that the grace that it needs, the attention that it needs. If you're going through it, right, it's being real about it, right? But I heard somebody say one time, hey, if you were in a group of people that you didn't know, Dana, and you threw all your problems into a circle in the middle, I guarantee you'd grab yours back and be like, no, I'll take mine, right? Compared to some of the other stuff you see, right? And so that always stuck with me. Is like, hey, yeah, it's like if you were with a bunch, a group of just 12 random people and everyone threw their personal problems in a pile and you got to pick one, you'd be grabbing yours back pretty fast. A lot of people would, right?
Wow.
And so I thought that was pretty powerful, but it's perspective. It is presence. Usually when we're going through it, something's not happening according to an expectation that we set. Think about it.
Yeah.
Right. And usually we've gone internal and we focused on us. And so I think going into presence, being real about whatever you're going through, but taking into gratitude and giving, meaning when I'm going through it, I choose to focus on who I'm serving. When I take the focus off of me and I put it on what I can add value to or who I can add value to, it snaps me out of that real quick, right? And I'm like conditioned to do it now, right? When I'm in service of others, I'm usually not suffering as much, right?
Yeah.
And that usually gives me a positive mindset because it reinforces my value.
Yeah, I love that. I think that is a really, really, really great point. What are you seeing most people right now, even that you're coaching? And I know it's mostly a lot of professionals, but what are you seeing? How are you seeing people's mindsets that you're around right now?
Challenged. I told you this on a call 3 weeks ago. A lot of my clients are crushing their goals. Here's what's unique, right? Crushing their business goals. Not fulfilled at all, totally lost, wondering what it was for, going down in the dumper a little bit, out of balance, and just beat up towards the end of the year, right? I hit my year goal by September, or we're 22% ahead. I'm hearing this, and tell me how you feel about that. And nothing, right? Or beat up, trash, just not super happy. I wasn't expecting this. And what we found out through some deep work and deep coaching over a couple sessions was we were out of alignment with what we value.
Yeah.
Right. We were out of alignment with our values in life, and we were chasing a life instead of creating a life is what was happening. And I think that's a huge mindset lesson right there. A lot of us are chasing life instead of creating life. And that really is a struggle on your mindset, right?
Will you go a little bit deeper on that? What exactly, if someone's like, what does that mean? What would you say?
Yeah, think about it.
I think that's awesome.
We're surrounded by a ton of it. Here's the cool thing. We're surrounded by goal setters and goal hitters and ambitious people. And so we get conditioned to be tied to the outcome, right? Here's my real estate goal or my leadership goal, my recruiting goal, my endurance goal. And we set all these goals in our life, and then we future pace, right? Positive future, right, team? And we go, I'm going to go get those things. And when I do, we have some expectation about who we will become if and when, or what we will have if and when, or how we will feel if and when we have those things. And I'm going, hey, it's good to set goals, but the only purpose of a goal is to reverse engineer a plan to put you right back here today. Yep. And instead of chasing how you might feel or what you might get, what would it look like if you started creating that today? And here's what I mean by that. Values is where we find fulfillment, right? Some of mine are challenge, exploration, friendships, relationships, right? I have to see that happening in my life on a weekly basis, right? So that I'm fulfilling my values. That's what keeps me in a positive mindset. And so chasing life, I've always seen as we're going after our goals for the sake of hitting goals. That's tough, man. That's a hamster wheel.
Yep.
Right? We want to create life. We want to create the values that we say we have. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. And that's actually something I would love for you guys to take away as an action item today. And I know I've talked a lot about values before, but figuring out, if you don't know exactly what your values are, Brian just named several of his, and I'd be happy to share some of mine with you too. But I think actually, Brian, what were yours again? I would love to.
Challenge. I love exploration, right? And these are things that I do daily. Family is a value of mine. Yep. Financial freedom is a value of mine. Time is a massive value of mine.
Same, yeah.
Right. And so what I do is I look at my calendar every Friday morning after a big trail session, and I'm looking at the next week, and I'm looking at my goals, right? But then I'm looking, am I living out my values? Where's my family time blocks, right? Where's the stuff that gives me energy? Where am I valuing the things I say I value? And that is what keeps me on this level that a lot of people say back to me, how come you're always here? I'm like, well, I'm not always, right? But the level that I drop to isn't as severe because I'm dropping to my values daily.
Yep.
Right. And so create the life you want now. Stop chasing the life you think you want in 5 years.
Yep. I love that so much. Yep. I put a few of mine in there too. I love that. And I think if you aren't even aware of what your values are, that would be step number one.
Here's a good exercise. Go to the one thing and their resources. They have a values card deck. There's like 150 of them. And instead of looking at them online, just put them all over a table or in a room until you can start to whittle that deck down to like 5 or 6. That is a great exercise for anybody in the call. Is go buy that deck of cards now.
I forgot about. I used to have that deck somewhere. Now I'm gonna have to Google that. I used to have that somewhere, and it is so good.
It's so good. And if there's any recruiters on the call, I used to do that with recruits. Right, I'd put them all out after a needs-based analysis and say, "Hey, I'll bet I can pick 5 of your 10 values. That's how well I know you." Right.
That's okay. Yeah. Here, I found it.
Little smoke and mirror trick, but get those cards today. You will love it. Do it with your family. Do it with anybody you care about. It's an incredible exercise that you can take a day to do it. You can take a year to do it. Just have them there.
Yeah, that's great. I'm so glad you said that, Brian. Thank you for reminding me of those. I'm gonna reorder some of those because I don't know what I even did with mine, but I remember when they actually came up with those, and we were like at a convention, and they were all over big. They had them like magnets on the back, and we went up and like picked our ones and put them on. And I was like, man, these are so cool.
Yeah. A majority of the time in coaching, because we coach whole life and business, right, Dana? When we're off, when our energy isn't where it is, almost every single time the client ends up self-discovering that they're out of alignment with their values, not their goals.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. And actually, even when I've had challenging relationships before, my coach Terry has always said, bring it back to your values. Are you in alignment with your
where do you
values?
think I learned this from? That was my coach too.
Yeah. Terry and Brian and I had the same coach, Terry, for many, many years. And I felt like for months, all we did was talk about values and whether I was in alignment or not in alignment with values.
Yeah. So it takes intentionality, right? A lot of people might be going, well, how do I get in alignment and how do I pick them? It's like, well, the first thing is time blocking this space to do this. And most people say, oh, with everything I have going on, how can I possibly do this too? And I always say back, well, the reason you feel the way that you feel with everything you have going on is because we haven't done this, right? Yeah. And so you've got to create a habit. You've got to create a habit of focusing on you, what you value, and then where you're seeing that in your day, in your week. And when you can't, you start to realize why you're feeling the way you feel.
Yeah, I love that. You just made me think. Linda and I just interviewed Alice Daly. She just wrote a book called Magic Mom, and I actually need to have her on here one time too. But she, they have, her and her husband have, I think, 4 daughters. And one of the things that she was talking about was she was in like the grind for so long. And she said that she knew she wanted to do something that was more in alignment with her values. And she said that she woke up one day and realized that she had no white space, that busy was, I wrote this down, I just found it, busy was a way she was behaving to hide what she was feeling. And so she just stayed busy 24/7 and she had 0 white space. And once she freed up white space to actually be creative and get in alignment with herself, she said her mindset completely switched. And within like 90 days, she wrote this whole book, and it just hit Amazon #1 bestseller in 8 categories, by the way. And she said that she was like, forever, I never time blocked to spend time on something that was important to me, or to have the creative or the white space time. I was like, man, that's a huge,
so powerful. Here's the thing. You're thinking on the level of your actions. So when you're behaving like you're busy and you're running from thing to thing and you're buried down and going, you're going to think on that level. You're going to think on that level. At some point, we got to lift our heads up, and we have to be able to think on a clearer level. And it takes white space to do that. It takes less focusing on less things to do that. I have like 4 rocks in my week. You know, I don't have 20 things I have to do every week. I have 4.
Yeah.
I have 4 things, right? I'm like, that's it. And I'm just going to go deep on those 4 things, and those are in alignment with my values. So I love that. Magic Mom, is that what it's called? Or Magic,
Yeah,
not Magic
Mom.
Mom. Magic Mom, not Magic Mike,
Magic
not Magic Mike. Magic
Not
Mom.
Magic Mike, Magic Mom. That's right. That's so funny. Yes. Okay, Brian, I know you have a flight to catch. Any last piece of advice you would give us on mindset today and just continuing to have a great mindset?
Yeah, I will because I'm on the phone with a bunch of leaders, or on a Zoom with a bunch of leaders. This is what I'll tell you. JT in the back, I did Zion in 35 hours. He quit at mile 82.
Wow.
And so in regards to mindset, when we went out together to do this one, it had 5,000 more feet of gain. So it was a harder race. But because I was focused solely on serving JT, we finished 6 hours faster than I did Zion alone, right? Because I wasn't focused on me. I was focused on serving someone else and their goals. And I got to go along for that journey. And here's what I'll tell you, leaders. I got way more joy and fulfillment out of watching him finish and serving him than I did myself. And when we talk about mindset, it's who am I setting my mind on, right? Suffering happens when we focus on ourselves. Joy, gratitude, fulfillment happens when we serve others, right? In a way that's in alignment with what you value, right? So set your mind on the who and the what you value, and you're
Love it. That is awesome. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, Brian. Thanks for being
flying back to St. Louis. Adios.
Safe travels, Brian. Thank you so much. Hey, you guys, don't hop off yet. Give Brian some appreciation in the chat. And really quick, I just wanted to remind you. So a lot of people asked for this, and I had this on my list for a year, and we're finally making it happen by the end of the year. So if you haven't signed up, I think we had like over 130 people as of this weekend that had already signed up. I am doing a online virtual Bible study / kind of book club. So we're going to do a Bible study around my favorite book of all time ever called Chase the Lion. I know many of you have already bought it. You've been texting me and you're just going to super love it. It starts on October the 10th. So a week from yesterday. No, a week from 2 days ago. I can't keep my days straight. Next week. It starts next week. And it is in the evenings at 7 p.m. It was like split 50-50 between morning and evening 7. And so I chose the evening because I like to have morning time for my routine. So I was selfish. So sorry for you guys who picked the morning. But I would love to have anybody. And it's just so great. So we can actually, let's see. Do we have the link? Heather, do you have it close by? We can post it. Oh, yep. Look, she's already got it. Okay. Thank you. If you haven't registered, there's the link. We'll post it in the Facebook group again, too, for those of you watching on Facebook. And just a lot of people have asked me if you have to register, just register for the first one. And then we'll email you to remind you of the rest of them. And then there's different chapters that you'll read. So for those of you who've already signed up, you just need to read chapters 1 through 3 by next Monday, the 10th. And I feel very confident that this book and this study and us just being able to have community around it together will give us a really great mindset. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, a really great mindset is super important this time of year as we head into the holidays. Because I want you guys to be able to be present with your families and your friends and not have a stressful mindset as you go into the holidays. I've had that for many years and it's no fun. So I think this will give us a really good mindset in place to be able to finish out the year strong. So hope to see you guys on there. Thanks for joining. Brian was so great. I know he had to hop on. He was like rushing to the airport. So I was like, hop on for 20 minutes at least. But hope you guys got a good nugget out of it and you have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks, guys. Bye, Josh. See you guys. Bye.